Welcome to Lions Live 365. I'm your host, Michael Ayers, and today we are doing a retool. What would I do if I was Brad Holmes? How do we honestly get back into Super Bowl contention? How do we put ourselves back in a situation where we're winning games, right? I truly believe that this team is probably between 4 to 6 players away from where they need to be. So that means a perfect draft, a lot of health, and nothing else. But in my opinion, you need a little bit more. You need a little bit of free agency. You need to hit on an unknown name, free agency wise, and you have to make some moves. First and foremost, we only have $5 million in cap next year. If we roll over all our money and all that good stuff, we're gonna come around $13 million in cap space. That's not enough money to do nothing, right? So the very first thing that we have to do is we have to restructure Jared Goff's contract. Now, according to Over the Cap, this is how we can restructure it. Essentially, we could take 2026 almost $70 million cap hit, move it all the way down to 30 million, spread all of that money around to the following years. Basically, create a situation where we have $40 million to basically work with. At this point, Jared Goff isn't going anywhere. You can't cut him. The coach has basically said that he loves the guy. Personally, I think we could do a lot worse than Jared Goff. So even if we decide moving on after, I believe he's earned at least another year or two. If we decide to move on, if we draft a quarterback or go young, it won't matter how much he's making because the new guy is not going to be making much. When you look at Jared Goff's contract, if you move it down, push the money forward, and keep doing it because essentially in 2029, if you look at the numbers on the left, you see there was literally a year that they tacked onto his contract that had no money on it. If we were to move a bunch of the money forward, I'm sure they can move more money into that year. But we're going to open up that space, right? Now, once we open up that space, these are our main needs. For me, center is number one. I want a veteran center. I'll tell you one of the ways that I believe that we can get one. Uh, Edge two is going to be something that we can definitely do in the draft. This is one of the rare drafts that have a lot of the archetype that we're looking for. A big body, strong hand, guy that can play outside and inside. And in this particular draft, there are a ton of guys like that. So the Kendrick Falks, the Ruben Bain Juniors, the TJ Parkers, the Mateo Ugaleles, the LT Overtons, the guy from Arkansas who's big and crazy athletic. They got a dude that's like short and kind of stocky and in Indiana, I forget his name. They got a guy in Illinois and Jackus. Those dudes are just huge. They fit the archetype. Is actually pretty rare for us to have a draft where they have the big edge because a lot of teams and a lot of situations have gone to a smaller defensive end. And this particular draft has a ton of the guys that we've been starving for in this particular scheme that we run that requires a big edge. Uh, and that is another thing. If you look at somebody's mock draft and they're saying that we're going to draft a 250 pound, 240-pound dude in the first round, stop paying attention. They don't care about the Lions. They aren't paying attention. That is not what we do, right? So at the end of the day, when it comes to the edge, we could have drafted Donovan Izaraku, right? Donovan Izaraku, slender man build, and the 240, 250 pounds. We've had several chances to pick that guy. But the big edge is something that we have not really had the opportunity to get unless you wanna count like Darius Robinson or Jairson Newton, who haven't been playing that well. And two, that was the year we took Terry on, so I'm happy about it. right? Number 3, if you see the 3 and 4, safety and tackle, those particular positions are have some caveats, right? So safety, we don't know where Kirby is. We don't know how Kirby's going to come back. We don't know if Brian Branch is how late into the season he's going to be. Then we have the tackle position. The tackle position is going to be a serious situation because we don't know if Taylor Decker is going to retire. That's why they have the stars next to him. Tight end 2 and 3. Looking at the Vikings game, they basically stopped the run game by themselves. They were the worst. They couldn't block corners, couldn't block safeties, couldn't block linebackers. Ricci and whatever that dude's name is, get them away from my team. I never want to see them again. All right. And then if we can't find a center and we decide to move Tate Ratledge to center, we need somebody to replace him. I am not 100% sold on Mahogany or Miles Frazier. There just hasn't been enough snaps for me to have a idea of who they are. Mahogany is a little bit better than I thought because I was looking at him like, is he trash? And then I found out maybe he's not. You look at the tape, it doesn't look as bad. Sometimes you look at tape and you think, oh, that really wasn't him. That was Dan Skipper being absolutely garbage. Premium garbage. Top shelf trash. I understand. I don't know why Lions fans like that guy. He is awful. All right. Awful. All right. I never want to see Kingsley ever again. Okay. That dude literally hiked he hiked a pass to my quarterback. He hiked the ball to my quarterback sideways. How do you do that? Why? There's no reason why you should hike a ball and the ball is. That's ridiculous. Why would the ball come to the quarterback like this? That's ridiculous. Never. Never again. Never want to see him again. I don't care how many centers we have to draft, how many centers we have to go get. I know technically Kingsley was center number 4 because they thought they had Ragnar. Ragnar retired. They thought they had Graham. Graham got hurt. They thought they had Cologne. He got hurt. So we're talking about the 4th center in a do or die game. And when people talk about Jared Goff, like, oh, he needs an elite line, there's a difference between elite line and just absolute garbage. He needs a line with NFL starters or at least NFL backups. NFL, somebody who deserves to be in the NFL. Kingsley doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. Dan Skipper has no business in the NFL. All right, stop talking about my quarterback like he needs all this. Like, oh, he needs everything. No, he needs he needs competency. And what we gave him on what we gave him versus the Vikings was ridiculous. What we gave him versus the Rams. If you look at that Rams games in the second half, people give him flack about the last drive, like the last, like the third quarter of the game, where Tristan Cologne gets absolutely whooped on what would have been another touchdown pass, deep pass, which Jameson still could have caught. But I'm not. This is something different. This is something different. We're gonna move on. So and then if we decide to move on from Anzalone, or we don't bring back Malcolm Rodriguez, we need to get some depth in that room. I truly believe that we can, and that's really what that is, right? So just follow the numbers, right? I said we're gonna restructure. I said we already had 13 million. With the restructure we at with around 50. Now, in the case that Taylor Decker retires, we will essentially get $18 million in added cap. Of course, we're going to have to use that to get another tackle. Hopefully, he can give us another season. In the case that he does retire, I want a veteran tackle. I do not want anybody learning on the job while we are in a situation where we have to prove to the world that we are still a threat. We have to prove to ourselves that our coach and our GM need to have this job, right? So I don't want any type of brand new dude in that situation. Now, let's talk about who needs to go, right? These are some notable names that I do not want to see on my team. Marcus Davenport, bye. Okay? Levi, the fact that you stole $4 million is crazy. I will never sign anybody ever again without a full physical. We're getting knees checked out, all of that. Never seeing him again. Avonte Maddox, I don't want to see him like that either. DJ Reader, he's most likely gonna cost too much. I'll take the comp picks. Thank you. Amik Robertson, this man right here, my man Amik. I'll keep him if he's corner 4 or 5. But I really don't want to see him in any long term capacity because he showed that he's not ready for that. I don't like him in the slot. That's the crazy part. A lot of people talk about his slot ability, but essentially he's a 5'9" guy that thrives most when he's outside. But then if you leave him outside too long, he starts getting destroyed. I'm cool. I'm cool. That's that to me. He's a backup that should get a game or two, not 7 or 8 games in the season. Khalif is he got to go too. Unless he's taking a ridiculous pay cut. I need him to get up out of here. All right. So there are more people on the list, but those are the people that y'all would probably pay attention to. These are the players that I would bring back if they were ready and willing to sign for the low. Al-Qadim Muhammad, anything under 10 million, I'll take him. Anything under 10 million a year. If he were to ask for 80 a year and I can get him for like 3-4 years, 6 or 7 million a year, I can live with that. Malcolm Rodriguez, great special teamers, really good linebacker. Same thing with Grant Stewart, like him. TK85 needs to make the roster at some point. To me, he's like a Mon Ra light. So I'm definitely going to take him. Roy Lopez earned himself a contract, and then Jake Bates. Now, if you're looking like, oh, what about Enzo? If Enzo is being reasonable, I'll take him too, right? My only thing is, I'll do another video about us changing the scheme. The scheme has to change in some capacity. We cannot keep doing this thing where, and to be fair, I'm not sure if this is what they mean, what they want, or if it was just how they were running things because of injury. I'm tired of being in base versus everything. We just in base deep. We in 4-3 defenses. And they out there with 3 wide receivers and a tight end, and they just matching us up linebacker against receivers and on third and long. It's just, to me, I don't like it. Right? I just don't like it. So I definitely want to make that change. I'll talk about that a whole nother time. But as far as players for the low, that's what I'm gonna go with, right? Uh, Now let's talk about some other moves that I might make. David Montgomery and Graham, they're on the trade block for me. Graham might retire on his own. David Montgomery, got a lot of love for you, but if my coach and if my coach just can't get you involved in the game, I cannot sit here and be like, yeah, I'm gonna spend $10 million on a running back I'm not using. Okay, and I love Knuckles, but if they're not gonna get him involved, he has to go. All right, and I want him somewhere that he can thrive. Hopefully, the Chiefs want him, or maybe he can be one of the 50 Chargers running backs, but he got to go. Graham, I'm a big Graham hater. You can say what you want. Don't like him. I missed him on things on Christmas Day though, because he can do better than that. He can hike the ball in a fashion that makes sense that the quarterback can catch it. He doesn't hike fat. He doesn't cause 2 turnovers by himself. But at the end of the day, Graham, if they were both to go, it'd be 10 million. We're probably around 60-70 million dollars in cap space at this point. So for me, people want to talk about free agency, right? So I looked at some free agents that I kind of liked. I'm not going to sit here and act like, these free agents are going to be game changers, but here they are. Looking at what's available, right? We can get Ife Melifonwu back from Miami. Alante Taylor is a decent man corner in New Orleans who's been in a crazy situation. The Seahawks, Reek Woolen, the Seahawks might not give him more money uh, because they have a good situation. It seems like Reek has been uh, kind of kind of pushed out over there. There's a lot of Seahawks fans complaining about him, but I feel like if he were to get into our system, there's more man base. He can thrive in that. Tyler Linderbaum is a pipe dream. I just don't think the Ravens will essentially let him go. I doubt it. If we can get Zeitler back from Tennessee, he was on a 1-year deal. If he doesn't retire, that's somebody we need to look into. David Njoku from the Browns or Isaiah Likely. There's a ton of tight end that are going to hit free agency, and we do need to give them a look because Sam Laporta is coming off a back surgery. We don't know when he's going to be back. We cannot afford to essentially hope and pray that guys come back healthy and the same like we did this year. We cannot allow that to happen. I think we can move on with that. There are a lot more options with free agency, but I do not want to spend a lot of time breaking down essential free agents because the majority of free agents are not going to choose Detroit. They're just not. There are a lot of reasons. I know what, I'll say that for later because I do want to look at the trade candidates. As far as the trade candidates, there are two teams that are wildly over the cap or slightly over the cap that we can probably make some calls and get some veterans. Um, and these might be pipe dreams as well, but if I was the GM, I'm going to make these calls, right? So, as far as trade candidates uh, from the Kansas City Chiefs, who are $40 million over the cap in 2026. Of course, a restructure from Patrick Mahomes will probably get them a lot of money. Probably multiple free structures can get them, or restructures can get them a ton of bread. But I do make this call like, hey, what do you want for Creed Humphrey? We need a center. Who knows what your next year is going to look like with Patrick Mahomes coming back from an Achilles, mid-season or whatever. You can get draft picks right now. Get to building for when he gets back. You save $13-14 million on top of whatever you need to restructure with Patrick Mahomes. They have Leo Chenal, their linebacker, that is just a free agent right now. So I'm hoping I could take advantage of a team. Don't even take advantage. I'm paying. You want a second and a fourth or first, whatever you need. I need Creed. All right, Mr. Humphreys needs to be over here. All right. Now this could not happen, but I definitely want to see the possibilities. Right now, defensive end George Karlaftis, same situation. Here's some Chiefs fans complaining about him. I'll happily take him over here as a defensive end number 2. Is a nice size guy, not weak against the run, pretty decent defensive end, he's making super affordable money, like $15-16 million off the top of my head. And then last but not least, the Dolphins, who are somehow cash strapped with that awful roster. I'm going to make a call for Minka. I need to see what is Minka's price. Can I get him for like a fourth or a sixth? Are you really just trying to get rid of the money? I'll take that last year. I don't need him for long. I'll take him for that last year. Cut him before the void years kick in if we're responsible. But essentially, these three people are somebody I would look into. Of course, there are other opportunities, but these three probably have the best chance of happening if the team is willing and we're willing to pay. Right? I don't think Minka would cost a lot if we were to call for him. I do not believe that the Chiefs are like against selling off players because they've done it before. They did it with Joe Thuney. or Tooney. I can't say that man's name. They did it with Joe Tooney. Helped worked out for the Bears. I would love for us to see if we can get Creed, only 27, 28 years old around there, and he signed for a long period of time. That could be the center of our future. So if they ask for a first, I might give it to him. Oh well, screw a first. I can get a all pro level center. Yeah, you can have my first. You want it next year third, next year second? So be it. I'll do what I can. I'm tired. I want veterans. Everybody can't be learning on the job at the same time. Coordinators learning on the job, center and guard and left tackle. Everybody learning on the job. No, let's get somebody that's like that. Let's see if we can get Creed. If not, if the Ravens are having some issues, they may franchise tag Linderbaum. But like, hey, what you need? I need to look into that, right? But essentially, that's how I feel. That's what I would do, just preliminary retool situation, to see what the Lions can do. Of course, there are a ton of things that we can do. I'm going to do like a simple address of the draft, because I think this is a draft that is perfect for the Detroit Lions in our scheme. But these are all the things that I think we can do to retool this team and actually get our team back in order quickly, so that we can start contending for playoffs and championships. And whether it is game day, draft day, or any day in between, this is Lions Live 365. Please like and subscribe. Peace out.